The reason I decided to launch this podcast is because I know I cannot be the only woman. I literally felt like I was living a double life. I did everything that I was supposed to do, that I was told to do, and I found myself like looking around like, okay, God, I did everything I was supposed to do. Like, where's my happiness that you promised me? I wore a game face every day. From the outside, nobody knew that I was literally dying inside because of the game face I wore, the mask I wore every single day. And you know how oftentimes women, we run around, we go, we do, because we feel that in order to be accepted, to be validated, to be liked, we're supposed to look a certain way from the outside. We're supposed to look like we have it all together. And I found myself in this constant loop of living with insomnia, living with, I struggled so much with constipation. I know a lot of women struggle with constipation, and it's just something that we don't talk about. Because again, oh my God, we can't talk about this. What are people going to think? But it's something that so many women struggle with. And I like to define this as underlying anxiety. I know that all of my symptoms of addiction, my symptoms of insomnia, my symptoms of Graves' disease, I know that all of those were symptoms of underlying anxiety that came from deep-rooted, unconscious beliefs that I wasn't even aware that I had, that I wasn't even aware that were running my life. I had no idea how our subconscious mind worked and how our subconscious actually created our reality. And when people ask me how I help women, it's because I know that everything that I went through is because I thought my worth came from outside of me. I thought my validation came from outside of me. The reason why I didn't seek treatment for my addiction much sooner than when I did is because I was just ashamed of what people would think of me. I kept thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll be happy when I get that next raise. Maybe I'll be happy when I build a bigger house. Maybe I'll be happy if I buy a different car. And I would keep achieving and going and doing, and nothing ever changed. I would feel happy and excited for a little while, but then nothing ever changed permanently. I felt like I was like in a hamster wheel. And so the way that I help women now is this, it's a 6 pivot framework. It's a framework called PIVOTT, and it's a 3-phase process. And the first phase is where I actually teach you to connect with the present moment by pausing. Most of us live worrying about the past, regretting our past, worrying about the future, because our brain is literally wired to protect us. So when you really uncover the power of the subconscious mind and you can really understand how powerful it is to connect with the present moment, because if you really think about it, the present moment is all we have. The present moment is where we create change. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow isn't promised. And think about it, 99% of the things that we worry about never really happen. We think about all these what ifs, and 99% of the things that we worry about never happen. So our power is in the present moment. It's in this very moment that you have the opportunity to change the trajectory of your life. That's where you can make little pivots to change and make different choices. And so the first tool that I teach is about being in the present moment. I mean, think about it. How often do you just sit and connect with the present moment? The thing is, we're not even aware of it because it's subconscious and we're literally living in the past or we're living in the future. Then the next phase I take you through is really educating you on the subconscious mind and how we're taught to treat our anxiety, and when we go to talk therapy, we're taught to treat from the neck up. It's in our head. It's in what's going on in our head and our mind, what we're thinking about in the conscious moment. But the truth is, we actually get to make change in our body. It's from the neck down where change gets to be made, because we actually carry our trauma in our body, because emotions are energy in motion. Anytime that you've gone through anything traumatic in your life, whether it's something that was considered like a big T, it could have been going through a physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse. It could be something of that matter, or trauma could be something that you wouldn't even realize is trauma. It could go back to being on the playground in elementary school and being the last one picked to be on the team. And you can feel like you're just not chosen. You felt that maybe you weren't good enough. You felt left out. Something like that, if you didn't learn how to process that from your body, that actually stays lodged in your body, and that trauma can continue to be triggered over and over again. And again, we don't realize this because this is stuff that we don't even know is going on because it's in our subconscious mind. Then in the second phase, I get to teach you about what's possible for you. You get to create a vision for your life. A lot of us are running from pain instead of being pulled from vision. I always like to talk about this. I'm sure you've heard of this sentence where they say, oh, the last 5 pounds are the hardest to lose. It's because when people are running from pain, which most of us do, we don't make change until it becomes so painful in our life that the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change. Because as humans, it can be hard to make change. So sometimes it's easier for us to stay where we're at. So unfortunately, the pain of staying the same has to outweigh the pain of changing before a person will actually take that next step to make change in her life. So the reason that we could say the last 5 pounds are the hardest to lose is because once you get further enough away from that pain point, then you start telling yourself stuff like, oh, I'm only 5 pounds away from my goal weight. I can eat that piece of cake. Oh, I'm only 5 pounds away from reaching my goal weight. I can skip the gym today. That's why they say the last 5 pounds are the hardest to change. But what if you got pulled with vision? What if you created a vision, a limitless vision, that if anything was possible and you created a life where your vision got to be created with no limits, and you got to wake up every day embodying that version of yourself that was creating that vision? That's when that vision and that reality for yourself is limitless. So instead of running from pain, you're being pulled. You're being pulled with something that excites you. You're being pulled with something that makes you excited to wake up every day, to walk towards, instead of running away from pain. When you're running away from pain, then guess what? You're constantly thinking about pain. And what you focus on grows. Where you give your energy to, it actually grows. So the more you continue to focus on what you don't want, that's why you probably keep creating the same thing over and over again, and you can't figure out why you keep ending up right back where you started. It's just because we weren't taught how to use our subconscious mind. Then the next phase is taking ownership. Where in your life are you blaming things outside of you? Where in your life are you blaming your partner, your husband, your parents, your job? When we become a victim to our life, then guess what? That's where you actually give your power away. Because when we blame others for where we're at in our life, then you're saying, I'm blaming you. It's your fault I'm this way. And when you blame others, then you're actually giving your power away to that person. You're giving your power away to that circumstance. You're giving your power away to that thing outside of you. So when you choose, and I say choose because it's a choice to take responsibility, when you choose to take ownership for your life, then that's when you say, okay, if I'm responsible for my life, then that means that I am the creator. That means that I get to create change. That means that I get to choose how my life looks. If I'm responsible for where I'm at, then I have all the power to create anything I desire. And I want to make sure I'm clear. Taking responsibility for your life is not blaming yourself. It's not about blaming you, because your feelings are absolutely 100% valid, and you get to feel them all and you get to heal from them. And it's not saying that it's okay that someone may have hurt you, but blaming yourself and taking responsibility are two different things. If you really break out responsibility, it's responsible. Responsibility, the ability to respond. So when you look at it as responsible, that means that you just are gifting yourself the resources to have the ability to respond. And that's why words are so important. Then in the third phase, you get to start reprogramming and releasing all that shit that no longer serves you. That's where you get to shift to your truth and really uncover what's true for you. You get to let go of all the programming that came from your parents, from your caregivers, from the school systems. Because believe it or not, your subconscious mind is programmed from the time you're born to about 7 years old. Your prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until your late teens. And so from the time you're born to 7 years old, you're in what they call is a theta brainwave state. And that's when you're just fully impressionable. That's why you often hear people say, oh, little kids are like tape recorders, because they literally are just recording and taking in everything they're seeing, hearing. They're learning everything from the people that they're around, from the things that they're around, from anything outside of them that they're exposed to. That's what creates their personality, pretty much. That's what creates your personality. When we're born to about 7 years old, everything that you were exposed to actually created your personality, but we just weren't taught this. So then we have all these subconscious programs and beliefs that were instilled in us from things outside of us, and we just think, oh, this is just how life is. This is just how life is supposed to be. I remember that's what I thought. I never realized that I had the power to change my beliefs. I just thought that that's how this is what I was taught, so this is what's true. And so you actually get to start uncovering what's true for you. What's your truth? What's going to support you for your dreams, your goals, your feelings? Not about what you were taught to become. You know, some people may have been taught, oh, you need to be a doctor, you need to be an attorney, you need to be this, you need to be that. I know that every single one of us was probably asked, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be? So that immediately starts programming you that you have to become something other than who you already are. When you really look at it that way, I remember for me, that was just like such an aha moment. That was such a shift for me. I used to be like, oh my God, I get to choose what I want to believe. I get to choose what I get to become, because who I am is already enough. The person I already am, the person I was born, the soul, the desires in my soul is what I get to just love and appreciate about myself. And I get to just be me. I get to be free to be me, because that's when you start living with those internal conflicts. That's when you start like questioning yourself, like, I feel stuck. Something's wrong with me. From the outside, I look like I should be happy. It looks like I should have it all. But why do I feel that internal pain inside? Why does my body feel heavy? Why does my heart feel heavy? Why do I feel like my throat is stuck even though I want to say something? And your mind is just constantly going. It's almost like an internal conflict that you have. Because when your body and your soul is aligned for your truth, but then your mind is telling yourself something that you should be. I should do this. I should do that. I should be this. I should be that. I have to do this for this person because then they'll think I'm a bad person. All these beliefs and all this pressure that we put on ourselves because of the programming, because that's how we were taught from our caregivers. We were just taught these things. Imagine letting go and releasing all of that program and all that stuff that no longer serves you, to be free to be who you are and what's true for you, and release all that shame and guilt because you've kept it in for so long because you were taught to suppress emotions. There's so much programming that you're covered up with that you are not even aware of. And this is what actually led me to my addiction. And I didn't know. I just felt so uncomfortable and unsafe in my body that my addiction and my pain pills actually were a solution to my emptiness, to my unhappiness that I felt within my own body. Then the last shift is trust. That's where you actually learn to trust your intuition. That's where you get to trust yourself to take action. Because in order to create change, we get to take action. And our body is the vessel that actually takes the action to create something different in our life. And that's when I remember I wanted help so bad with my addiction. I would have given anything to be free from those pills. But then my mind started telling me all those beliefs. What are people going to think of you? Oh my God, what are people going to think? They're going to think that you're this and you're that and you're all this just horrible stuff. So that's what kept me from asking for help. But then my body and my soul kept crying, like, please, Dominique, please get help. Like, there's more to life. There's more to life than this. And I knew that. I kept telling myself, I know there has to be more to life than just getting up every day to go to work, to pay bills, to one day die. That's how I felt. I felt like I was just going to work every day to one day die. I felt like I was just going to work every day to live for the weekends. Because that's all I knew. You go to work, you get a job, you get a pension, and then you work until you retire. And then once you retire, then you can travel. Then you can live life. Then you can have freedom. To me now, that just sounds like I felt like a prisoner in my own body. And now I've discovered that all these were just symptoms of an underlying of just anxiety. The anxiety that built up in my body because I just felt like I had to keep proving myself and achieving and going and doing and proving and validating and taking action. And I just felt like I could never ever, I just felt like I was dying inside. But from the outside, I was walking into my government office every day in my business professional clothes, being this perfectionist employee, doing and achieving. So that way from the outside, I just looked like I had it all together. Because as long as I looked good from the outside, as long as from the outside I had the house and the job and the family and the husband and the white picket fence, then that's all that mattered. But inside, I literally was dying. And so I really invite you to just listen to everything I said and listen to your body. Your body holds so many answers, but we were just taught to think with our logical mind. We were taught that from the neck up where our decisions got to be made from. We were taught that if we go to talk therapy and just talk about it over and over and over and talk about it over and over and over, that eventually we'd be free from that guilt and shame that covered us from things from our past that you may not be proud of. And I promise you that there is a better way. And that's why I have created this framework that actually teaches you to work through the body. That's where your subconscious mind resides. That's where your nervous system resides. Being in anxiety is actually living in survival mode. That's when you're basically living in a fight or flight response and your nervous system is literally in survival mode. And when we don't treat our anxiety at the root cause, which are all these subconscious beliefs and buried trauma in our body, if we don't treat these symptoms at the root cause, the symptoms of addiction, the symptoms of chronic illness, chronic stress, if you just continue to put a Band-Aid over them and look at changing things from the outside, then it's going to continue to manifest in another way, whether it be another addiction, whether it be another chronic illness, whether it be chronic stress, whether it be issues with your marriage and your relationships. But I promise you, if you learn to heal from the body and reprogram subconscious beliefs and reprogram your nervous system, you can break free and really heal your anxiety from the root. So, like I said, the first thing that I did when I started my journey was I just learned to connect with the present moment. So I really invite you, even if you have to set an alarm on your clock, on your phone for every hour, every 90 minutes, set an alarm and just check in with yourself and ask yourself, where is my mind right now? What am I thinking of? What are the thoughts going through my head? And that's how you start uncovering the subconscious beliefs that have been running your life for the past 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And I promise you, it is never, ever, ever too late to reprogram your subconscious mind and to create the life that you deserve. And let me reframe that. It's not about deserving because you're worthy just because you exist. You actually get to create a life that you desire, and that you get to wake up every day and feel energetic and feel excited and really truly believe that you're the creator of your life. So hope this episode serves you well. Hope you found something that can support you. But I promise you that you are the creator of your life, and it's one step, one day, one pivot at a time. So until next time, practice just being in the present moment. That's your one pivot practice that I get to leave you with on this episode. So until next time, we will talk to you soon, and one step, one day, one pivot at a time.